Director of the United States Secret Service, Kimberly Cheeto, speaks exclusively with ABC News, taking responsibility for that stunning breakdown in security.
This is an event that should have never happened.
Who is most responsible for this happening?
What I would say is that the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service. It was unacceptable, and it's something that shouldn't happen again.
Minutes after Trump took the stage Saturday in front of thousands of people, gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks wounding the former president and 3 others before a Secret Service counter sniper took him out.
I'm being told that the shooter was actually identified as a potential
threat.
Person of suspicion. Units started responding to seek that individual out. Unfortunately, with the rapid succession of how things unfolded, by the time that individual was eventually located, they were on the rooftop and were able to fire off at the former president.
ABC News now learning that heavily armed local police were actually stationed inside the building. The gunman climbed, but they missed him. Butler town officials confirming that after they became aware of the threat, a local police officer climbed up to the roof and confronted Crooks, but did not succeed in stopping him.
What was your reaction when you saw the events unfold on Saturday?
Shock, and then concern, obviously, for the former president.
Investigators now trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing up seemingly unimpeded, about 400 feet from the stage, with a direct line of sight on the former president.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
Cheeto says the Secret Service was responsible for the inner perimeter of the rally, where Trump was. But local police were responsible for the outer perimeter, where the gunman was located. In Washington, lawmakers demanding answers, calling on the Secret Service director to appear before Congress.
We will be transparent both internally with my own folks and externally with members of Congress and with the American public. That's what the public deserves.
The President and Homeland Security Secretary said today they had 100% confidence in you, but there are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the Secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
You plan to stay on? Absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
A federal law enforcement source tells me that a suspicious person was flagged to local police here at the rally for acting strangely before the gunman opened fire, which caused police to begin a foot chase for this person. One report says the person was acting nervously and pacing near the metal detectors. Now, this is notable that the suspicious person, presumably Thomas Crooks, was flagged at a separate location away from that rooftop that he climbed, raising more questions about whether this alleged shooter could have been stopped. A senior federal law enforcement source telling Fox News there were multiple radio transmissions describing a search for a suspicious person after citizens reported this to local police.
Now, a lot of people, why don't you get Trump off the stage if you're actively searching for a suspicious person who fled from you? How do you know it's not a whole bunch of people involved in this scheme to hurt Trump? Get him off the stage till you secure what's going on. What's so hard about that? I don't get it. He's an important person. Dang it.
A local law enforcement leader confronted the individual at the rooftop. Now,
right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down. Yeah. So there you go. Very interesting. I gotta check that out. Very interesting. Demonstrates once again. Now, the sniper that you see has supposedly gone public with this, and we're not sure if this has been verified as actual, but it makes about as much sense as anything. The sniper pictured here went on social media, apparently, to say that we weren't allowed to take out the shooter. We were waiting for approval. We were waiting for somebody to tell us, yes, take him out. Now, they waited until the guy got from between 5 to 8 shots. This is what makes this all very strange, because they waited until he shot. And apparently, what we're hearing is the Secret Service rules of engagement are you don't shoot the assailant until the assailant tries to shoot the president. Now, that is absolutely insane. That is, excuse my language, ass backwards. You wait until that guy shoots, you're going to lose your president. There's going to be a death. It was only by miraculous intervention, I believe, only because Trump turned his head in time, that he wasn't killed. This kid had a open pathway, clear pathway, 150 yards or meters away from the president. He was in optimum position. Nobody tried to stop him. Nobody even stood up and said, "Hey, we've got a gun on you right now. We've got you covered. Put your gun down. Stand up with your hands up, or stay on the ground. Put your hands over your head, and throw the rifle off the roof." That would have been one responsible position. Another responsible position would have been to take the former president off the stage. He was just beginning his remarks. So why did nobody say, "Hey, there's a guy with a gun over there. We've got about 30 people who've already alerted us to his presence. Get Trump off the stage now before something happens, before this guy fires." They had up to, some people are saying 42 seconds. Other people are saying it's up to 4 minutes to make a decision about this. And they failed to make a decision. Their decision was to do nothing. And that was gross incompetence.
In a recent post, very lengthy post about the Secret Service and their failures with the rally.
I think it is terrible if we underestimate just how bad Saturday could have been, because it was not the Secret Service that protected the president. It was basically the president turning his head, bad marksmanship by the shooter, and probably a little bit of wind. But the fact that an assassin was able to position himself 140 yards away from a presidential rally, a known pre-published location, this is not some random stop by an ice cream store, that the guy could get in position, take a number of aimed shots with a capable enough rifle that it killed the guy standing right behind the president, is absolutely unacceptable.
Can I ask a question, Benny? I've been wanting to ask this question. Somebody that would give me an answer. How in the hell did he get a long rifle in that area where I can't get a cell phone? It
was outside of their security perimeter, which is really asinine, because clearly the rifle's reach could reach right across their security perimeter. 140 yards is nothing. 1,000 yards or 1,500 yards, that's more reasonable. Because if a line of sight with a proper rifleman could lay down and do a headshot or even a body shot at those kind of ranges, but 140, hell, my 10-year-old kid could make that shot.
I've been at dozens of those rallies and introduced the president. And how in the world do you carry a gun into a rally like that?
He didn't carry it in a rally.
Oh, he did.
It was outside their perimeter.
Well, I know that,
but it was an industrial park.
Yeah.
And they never bothered to even secure that. There's a water tower they could have put observers, cops, counter snipers up in the top. It was a failure. Like I said in the article, it's either malice or massive incompetence. And there's really no excuse for either.
I mean, it seems like malice, because there was a law enforcement official that actually engaged the shooter, according to reports. And he pointed the firearm at him and he just walked away. There are members of the audience that were filming with their phones saying, "Look, there's a guy army crawling across the top here with a firearm. Nobody does anything."
Dead giveaway in it.
The Secret Service snipers, and I don't know if they were Secret Service snipers. Perhaps you could elucidate that for me. But apparently those snipers had a bead on him for minutes, at least 60 seconds, according to available video.
Yes.
Didn't take the shot. Why the hell did that happen?
Because they have a don't shoot first policy. Secret Service lawyers have instructed that they can't shoot first. They can only engage once the target has been engaged. So,
Senator, that seems like you're setting a president up to get shot.
I don't want those guys walking around with me if they can't shoot first. I mean, is that right?
Yes, layers upon layers of bureaucracy, and just the incompetence of not. Look, Anybody with any skill whatsoever, you'd hope the presidential advance for the Secret Service would have that skill to walk from, this is where the president's going to be, and you look. It's so obvious where the shooter's going to be. A sniper would call that the sniper's hotel, a logical spot that the sniper is going to set up and choose to take that shot. And it was completely uncovered. The fact that you had locals standing around outside the perimeter, drinking beer, listening to the rally, and they have the ones that are calling it in. You know, there's always going to be friction between them reporting to some cops and the cops taking action. But I've even heard that the SWAT team, some local SWAT team, was supposed to be covering that area, but the roof was too hot, so they went downstairs and they had a communications problem. So again, this ultimately falls on the Secret Service. Is the agent in charge, and can they direct the resources? And if they can't direct the resources, you can hire local. You can hire additional. There's plenty of talent in America that can do that job. Clearly, it was a leadership failure. And like I said in the article, we have a raft of institutions that are overfunded, unaccountable, bloated, and completely ineffective. And they've embarrassed us. Not just embarrassed us. Imagine World War I started. Why? Because the heir to the throne of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire was assassinated in a really badly botched security event.
Yeah. First, let me get this out of the way. A high-level source reached out to me last night and said to me that the rooftop that the shooter engaged from, as I told you last night during the Tucker Carlson special and then on Don Jr.'s show, was actually supposed to be posted by a local police department or non-Secret Service counter-sniper team. So we're clear on the facts. There were 2 counter-sniper teams from the Secret Service, 2. Those 2 were assigned to the scene. That rooftop was obviously deemed a threat. It was a line-of-sight issue. So because they didn't have the assets, and I'll get to why in a few minutes, it involves Dr. Jill Biden, who has an extremely low threat level relative to Donald Trump. This is the breaking news. For some reason, that local police department, this is not about Monday morning quarterbacking, folks. Again, this is not a football game. These are people's lives. For some reason, that local tactical counter sniper team didn't make it to the roof. What I'm hearing from sources is that tactical team positioned it through a second floor window, which cedes the high ground. Now, I wish I wasn't breaking this on my show. The fact that nobody is comfortable talking to the media because they're such insider hacks, they're afraid they're all going to be exposed and they all have to come to me, candidly, folks, is a travesty. But think about what I just told you. For a second, everybody take a pause and a timeout. Think about the multiple security failures here and the lying. There was supposed to be a tactical CS team on that roof. They didn't make it to the roof. They chose a second floor window instead, which cedes the high ground, obviously, and nobody noticed? Nobody noticed that post, that CS post was unmanned? Nobody had any idea? Now, this explains a lot. I gotta control the expletives. Really. The bullshit I just said that. The bullshit you're hearing coming out of Secret Service headquarters. Now does it make sense? Did you see a few days ago, and by the way, they're watching right now, make no mistake. Did you see a few days ago, I don't know, about 3-4 days ago, the Secret Service came out with a statement through this PR flack, Guglielmi and others, and these guys should all resign immediately. And did you hear what they said? They did it kind of in a winky nod, sleazy kind of way, where they tried to pawn this off on the locals. Do you remember that? Folks in the chat, do you remember? How do we have 120,000 people? We just started 6 minutes ago. Is that even right? That's just crazy. They tried to, now does that make sense? The local CS team never made it to the roof, counter sniper team. So when the Secret Service got massive backlash for appearing to pawn this off on the locals, even though what they were saying was true, even though it was the Secret Service's responsibility to check that the post was manned, the Secret Service then dialed the story back and said, oh, we're not trying to blame the locals. This is our responsibility. And then when they got backlash for saying, okay, well, if it's your responsibility, why was there no one on the freaking roof? Why was there no one there? What did the Secret Service director say? She came out with this ludicrous absurdity that, I don't know, man, the slope of the roof, we shouldn't be up there. It's like an OSHA violation or something. What, bro? What did you... But let me tell you an OSHA violation. There are things in the motorcade and other security mechanisms we use, I'm sure probably aren't safe to be around. You think I sat there and went, OSHA, can we get a ticket on this item here? You do your job. You do your job and you keep the president alive. That excuse about the slope of the roof is another lie. Are you getting now what's going on? The Secret Service is lying so much and so often to try to cover up this total Charlie Foxtrot, if you know what that means, you military guys out there. They're lying so much that they're forgetting their lies. And they're not savvy enough, like a Jen Psaki, to lie effectively. There was supposed to be a local post. They never showed up, and no one from the Secret Service checked. They never showed up on that roof. Nobody checked. It also explains the possible hesitation by the other CS teams when this guy was encountered on the roof. Maybe they confused him for someone else, thinking it was posted up by locals, and it took maybe a couple of seconds to unscrew that. You're not hearing this anywhere else. Folks, let your show prep begin now. Hat tip to great Rush Limbaugh. We're borrowing that line from the legend. Let your show prep begin now. This stuff should be coming out from whistleblowers, but they don't trust you in the media. They trust me because I was one of their brothers. And let me tell you something, to the men and women in the Secret Service I work with, this isn't the Secret Service I knew. They are calling out to me horrified that this happened. I don't want you to think that the good men and women there, because there are some, I don't want you to think at all that anyone's proud of this. They are horrified. They are horrified. They're embarrassed. They are reaching out to me. Go get them. Keep their feet to the fire. We got to fix this thing. This thing is a disaster.
Now, the Secret Service has actually come out. Kimberly Cheadle, who is the director of the Secret Service, she actually came out saying she wants to commend her people for doing such an excellent job, for reacting as quickly as they did. They exercised gross incompetence. And as I say in this post on X, this is nothing but the usual track record of the Secret Service. They're grossly overrated, and they failed dismally. And they showed how incompetent they were. Thank you for watching this episode of Stand on Guard and being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right channel. If you've watched this episode to this point, you've watched it all. And that's really important for a small station like this. We always say subscribe, hit the bell, be a part of the KRAYDEN resistance. Resolve to resist. That's what we're doing. And if you become a subscriber, if you're a supporter of this station or a member through Substack, through YouTube, and now you can be a local as well, that's so important to us because I couldn't do this without you. I made a decision to become an independent journalist about a year ago because I wanted to bring all of my experience in the military, in journalism, to you. I don't promise anything I can't deliver. I don't offer clickbait. I offer truth. The truth is out there, and it's my job to bring that truth to light and to you. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right resistance, and we'll see you again soon.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.